It is Yoda Monday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. This morning, let us play with the very latest iteration of very easy meditation. As always, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. We're going to begin with the first of 4 phases of mindful crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we can advance our right thumb in the following way, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you multiply that by 8, we get 96. We therefore count 8 sets upon our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 12 inhalations each. 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. Since this is our first phase, we keep track of that by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to gather or coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Let us begin by demystifying enlightenment. It is neither anything special nor elitist. What if enlightenment was nothing more than the mastery of Gautama Buddha's Eightfold Path? What do we mean by mastery? Getting so good at the Buddha's Eightfold Path that we practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. In the second to the final passage of the Buddha's Satipatthana Sutta, he explained that that could be accomplished in as little as 7 days. The greatest irony of all is that simply by training in mindfulness and meditation, the remaining 6 folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path take care of themselves. Let us therefore view mindfulness and meditation through the lens of neuroscience after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Please chant with me. The nudity of the octuple couple sporting in tantric union reminds us of the vulnerability so crucial to mindfulness. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. We should therefore not be surprised that since the Neolithic Revolution, the majority of cultures on this planet have trained their denizens to be so rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel that only about 10% of them really are successful at emulating the Buddha's attributes of being flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Therefore, it comes as a little surprise that when these rigid and controlling people try to teach others how to meditate, they implore them to practice active focus and analysis. The only discrete regions of our brain capable of those actions are the neural pathways found in regions such as the medial prefrontal cortex or dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Overtrain those areas and you will trigger your amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. which are the opposite of what most people want from meditation. Most people don't want to be anxious, they want to be peaceful. Most people don't want to be aggressive, they want to be loving. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex comprise the entirety of our central nervous system. Let us begin this morning with mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired to access our sympathetic nervous system, which is ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. The sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us notice in a very special way, to help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Notice what? Generally, notice mind's antics of perception. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Now, specifically, we have evolved to notice the primary duality of Buddhism, which is simply desire and dread. And as such, we have also evolved to notice our latent resistances to the absence of that which we desire, as well as our resistance to the presence of that which we dread. The easiest way to practice mindfulness is as follows. Silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during your inhalation, and you will gently nudge your cerebral cortex into cooperating with your sympathetic nervous system. Simply put, during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, which helps us to release our resistances that we just discussed. Releasing them does not mean they go away. Releasing them means we're no longer defined by them. It means as we release our resistances, those resistances no longer control our choices or utterances or deeds. So together as a team, let us meditate right now. Let's turn now to the second of 4 phases of crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. When we multiply that by 8 sets, we get 96 inhalations. We count our 8 sets upon our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 12 inhalations each. 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. We keep track of this second phase by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so gently invites our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Please chant with me. The translucence of our good father and mother depicted in paintings reminds us of meditation's experience of impermanence and non-graspability. Quick review. As we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, due to our sympathetic nervous system, we can't help but vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination, as well as notice mind's desires and dreads, as well as notice our mind's resistances to the absence of that which it desires, as well as its resistance to the presence of that which it dreads. Well, what are we to do with all those things that we noticed? Whether they are external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, whether they are interesting or boring, glorious or interesting or boring, physical or mental, glorious or grotesque. And that brings us to meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired by evolution to effortlessly access our parasympathetic nervous system divided between the lower third and the upper third of our spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system is wired to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. Release doesn't mean we shove something away. It means we are releasing our resistance to it. That doesn't mean we're shoving the resistance away. It simply means as we release our resistance, it ceases to control our choices and utterances and deeds. And when that happens, it can very much feel like those resistances are literally impermanent because they are. One has only to gaze about the world around one to see changes everywhere. With the changing of the seasons, we see the impermanence of a year. With the waxing and the waning of the moon, we see the impermanence of a month. With the rising and the setting of the sun, we see the impermanence of the day. And right now, we could rest our fingertips upon our upper chest. And as it swells and sinks, we feel the impermanence of a breath. For changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. And that grasp, that non-graspability is exemplified metaphorically by emptiness. When we let go of things, when we release things, they could feel as if they were as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, any good English teacher would remind us that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. So therefore, we have to ask, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. And so we see that by playing with mindfulness and meditation, we can't help but notice the literal impermanence and figurative emptiness so crucial to letting go. So together as a team, let us meditate. Allow me to remind you that every time we inhale, we're already wired to generate a vertical traction between our head and our tush. Every time we exhale, we're wired to release that traction. Welcome to this morning's practice. We turn our attention now to the third of 4 phases of mindful crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We can multiply that by 8 for a total of 96 inhalations by using our left hand to count sets. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 12 inhalations each. 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. Since this is our third phase, we can keep track of it by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so can gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the heart region of our chest. Please chant with me. The beauty of sky blue kuntu zong po, and cloud white kuntu zong mo yam yam, remind us of the highest love, spontaneous and uncontrived. When we quick review, by silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly whatever comes up. External or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. Every time we exhale, whether we know it, let's try this again. Every time we exhale, try the third time. When we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are wired for both physical relaxation as well as mental release of that which we noticed during our previous inhalation. One of the things we could have noticed was the anxiety and aggression of our latent within our amygdala. One of the great things about mindfulness and meditation is they not only pacify the tyranny of our aggression and anxiety, but they stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, this fuchsia-looking letter C right here. This functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which is the root of compassion and love. This is exactly why the late Tulku Thondup insisted that one cannot use either focus or analysis to manifest empathy in a cranky mind. That won't work. But by working with the awareness of mindfulness and the release of meditation, this empathy is released effortlessly, spontaneously, in a manner completely uncontrived. And that gives birth to 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path: kind intention, kind communication, kind conduct, and commerce that is as cooperative as it is kind. So together as a team, let us continue playing with noticing and releasing, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. We come now to the fourth and final phase of mindful crease counting meditation. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Multiply this by 8 and you have 96. To do that, we count 8 sets upon our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 12 inhalations each. 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of this, our fourth phase of mindful crease counting meditation, we rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing this gently invites our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the crown region of our head. Please chant with me. The stability with which Kablu Samanta Bandra sits, and the abandon with which Cloud White Samanta Badri sports, reminds us of the effortless effort of centered spontaneity. When we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we can't help but notice, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, fleetingly, mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination, as well as our desires and dreads of that which we notice. We call it mindfulness. As we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb is during our exhalation, we cannot help but release our resistance to the absence of that which we crave, as well as our resistance to the presence of that which we hate. We call this meditation. Play with this mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so. And before you'll know it, you'll notice that your choices, utterances, and deeds begin to flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. No, not scattered spontaneity, like that which we experience after our fourth or fifth espresso, but the centered spontaneity that is the inevitable result of playing with mindfulness and meditation. We could call this centered spontaneity surfing our Buddha nature. Buddha nature is just a charming Iron Age way of describing what we in the digital age describe as the sympathetic nervous system's seat of mindfulness, the parasympathetic nervous system's seat of meditation, and our anterior cingulate gyrus's seat of empathy. These two have a reciprocal relationship. These three affect each other profoundly and are the key to having a rich and fulfilling life, controlled not by our tendencies to be rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, but instead flowing with our Buddha nature, being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Together as a team, let us practice mindfulness and meditation right now. The more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more we experience practical non-duality. Practical non-duality does not mean that we are blind to that which is beautiful or ugly. It just means that as we relax into our exhalation, they simplify into just sights. It doesn't mean we are blind to that which is discordant, or harmonious. It means that as we relax into our exhalation, there are just sound. So as we breathe in, we cannot help but notice duality. As we breathe out, we cannot help but notice non-duality. Not intellectually, not based on ideas or beliefs, but viscerally, based upon the play of our autonomic nervous system. I sincerely hope this has helped. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 3 hours or so, I would very much like to return to lead today's mid-morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.